Ever wish your riffs and solos had more emotional impact, that they could really breathe and tell a story instead of just running through scales? What if I told you there's a simple move that gives guitar solos an instant, expressive vocal sound, and most guitarists don't even know it's there? Check this out. Did you catch what was going on there? Well, how about this example from Eddie Money? Still not there? I'm sure you'll see it in this next example. Okay, I'm sure you've got it, but here's just one more to drive the point home. What do all these timeless guitar riffs have in common? They all rely on a surprisingly simple technique called pre-bending. I've used this for decades of teaching guitars, and once you get it, you'll hear it everywhere in the legendary classic solos you've loved all your life. Today, we're going to master this technique in just a few minutes. Let me show you by learning in the style of a favorite song of mine, Melissa by the Allman Brothers with Dickie Betts on guitar. Here are the chords for the lesson that we'll do. Let's briefly listen to this backing track. Clearly, it sounds similar to Melissa, and it's in the key of E. So here's the framework that we'll use in this demo. We'll use the E major pentatonic in this position and also in this position. Now I'll go through the licks separately to teach the technique, and we'll put it all together using the backing track at the end. But before we do, I'm going to briefly discuss the number system that I use. It'll just take a moment, and believe me, it makes things so much easier to understand. If you already know this, just skip ahead just a little bit. It won't take that long. It's as simple as this. Here are the 7 notes of the E major scale, and here are the numbers associated with each note. Why do we do this? Because it's universal. The same idea applies to any key, like A or C. So when we say play the 3rd or the 4th, it applies to whatever key we're speaking about. You can see how powerful this can be because it makes transposing to any key totally easy. Now let's have a look at the fretboard. Now here's our E major pentatonic with the numbers on it. Look carefully. There's no 4 or 7. Why? Because a major scale has 7 notes while the pentatonic has only 5. And now here's the whole picture with all the numbers. Okay, enough. Let's get on with the guitar. Let me show you pre-bending and how to do it. Remember, we'll put this all together at the end so you can hear the impact. Here's an example of pre-bending that's particularly sweet. Now the key here is that I'm bending before I pick the note. Now this can be scary to a lot of players because you have to bend without actually hearing what you're bending to. The key to this is just to jump in and do your best. Eventually, your hand will start to feel that right tension. Now this is actually a pre-bend and release. Pre-bend, play, release. But where are the good places to pre-bend and release? Let me show you. By the way, if you'd like a free visual aid to help you find your way around the fretboard, I've got a simple roadmap linked in the description. No theory overload, just a practical guide. The answer, as usual, to where do we want to end up is on a chord tone. So here I've outlined an E chord and again here. But we usually solo on the treble strings, so let's just simplify it here. Now let's put in the scale numbers. Aha! The 1, the 3, and the 5, just the major chord. That's the power of the number system. Okay, before I make your head spin anymore, let me show you a few pre-bends and releases that really work. Here's the one we started with. I'm bending to the 6th and releasing to the 5. How do I know this is 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 to 5. Another one that's good is just the 2 to the 1. Bend to the 2, release to the 1. And a third one would be bend to the 5 and release to the 3. Now you hear that less because that is a big bend, so it's not as easy to do. But I often bend to the 4. Now the 4 is not in the major pentatonic, so that's why I think it's used less frequently. Now here's a really cool one. We'll bend to the 3 and release to the 2 and pull off to the 1. That's a really nice one. We can even go back to the original 3, right? That's a really emotive one. And it'll work on this one too. Really pretty. But how does all this sound in a song? Let's put it all together and play it over that backing track. But there's so much more that you can learn from Dickie Betts and put into your own playing. One fantastic thing to learn is his shuffle picking technique, which I teach in this video. So click here, and I'll see you on down the road.